It's just for show.
Just there for show.
Happy Thursday. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Culture and Cannabis podcast. I'm currently not in the studio right now. I'm currently actually in the Starbucks in Oklahoma because the Culture and Cannabis brand is reaching out to there. But we got a really special podcast for you guys. We have two amazing guests in the studio today. Rick, you want to touch them so they can start waving?
How we doing?
We got Derek Gumin and Tina Ulman in the studio. We have a really special podcast for you guys today. We're going to be doing a little debate because we got a big election coming up.
We're super excited to
Are you
be
guys
here,
ready?
Tony. Love you for it. There's a lot going on in the world today, and I feel like a lot of voices are lost in the shuffle of the media and all the bull crap that we have to endure every day in this political world we live in now. And it's just nice to be here with my counterpart, Tina, and to have a platform for both of our voices to kind of just give our side of the story. Right, Tina?
That's right. And we want to make sure that all of our homies in the cannabis industry have the proper information because the media can skew things and our own president can skew things. So we're here to really talk about some points. We're going to do it in a fun debate style. And we're also going to make sure you know what's happening right here in Nevada so that you can make the proper choices on who to vote for that supports cannabis reform. But before we begin, excuse me, I just wanted to make sure everyone knows.
This is a PG show. Whoa, all right, Tina.
Okay, sorry, when that old pal indica hits.
So, Tone, what are you doing out there in Oklahoma with JC? I hear you guys are up to no good, or up to a lot of good, actually.
We're just getting in some trouble out here, you know how we do. And no, we're a cannabis brand out here to Oklahoma. We're rocking and rolling, and it's been a great time. But I'm really excited to talk with you guys about what's going on in this current election cycle. So let's dive in.
All right.
All right, so first, do a quick introduction, what your party affiliation is, and just a reason why your party affiliation is.
Sure. Well, I guess I'll go first. So I am pretty outspoken. There we are. Pretty outspoken Republican. I have been my whole life. I consider myself a moderate Republican. I have a lot of social views that lean toward the middle, even into the left. As far as my economic and foreign policy kind of train of thought goes, it's Republican all the way. Being a Republican is inherently believing in smaller government. So when you're looking at the other side of the ticket, in any capacity on the Democratic ticket, generally speaking, they're looking for a larger government, more influence on your day-to-day life, and a little bit just more control in general. Republicans, the way that they've always operated, the small government, a lot of things go to the state rather than the federal level. It's a hands-off approach, deregulation, and lower taxes. The Democrats generally have a lot of public programs that they want to spend on. Usually it includes a lot of pork spending. For those of you who know the term, pork spending is just fatty spending. Spending like you saw in the aid bills going out by Pelosi in Congress that had nothing to do with coronavirus, but we're paying for it anyway. We'll get into that in a little bit. But my candidate and why I'm a Republican is really just that. Trump encompasses all those things. He believes in our country. He loves our country. And man, I really don't think there's anyone else better for the job.
Wow, I would definitely have to disagree on that one. So I am a registered Democrat, and that is only because there is two main parties to pick from. If I had it my way, I would be starting my own party called the Conscious Capitalist Humanitarian Party, where we can build up businesses, but we also don't have to be a dick to our fellow man, right? So I am a registered Democrat. I have very progressive views. Progressive meaning let's try something new that we've never done before. We all know there's an establishment on both sides, and if they're clicked together, then we're not going to solve many problems. So I'm a problem solver. When I do run my campaign, it will be Ulman Solutions 2024. But we can just do so much better. Overall, we have a president who has horrible leadership and a horrible temperament. He has done nothing but to divide this country. It needs to stop. If you do not want 4 more years of what's happening right now in our country, in our cities, and our homes, we absolutely have to elect Joe Biden. So that is why I am voting for Joe Biden.
Got to say, there's a lot of Democrat-run cities and states that are having these issues. You don't see that on the Republican states or Republican cities. Riots, looting, social unrest. I think while Trump may be a dick, let's be clear, he's a dick. You can't let emotions base your political views. Emotions, they're strong, they can have a lot of sentiment behind them, but you got to look at the reality of our political landscape, and sometimes you just got to cut the emotions out.
I know, right? And here we have a president who is so emotional, he has to go to Twitter every 2 seconds that he is pissed off to tweet something completely unpresidential and inappropriate.
He's been doing it for years.
The key to being a great business person is to take emotion out of it. So I think we've scratched that Trump isn't a great business person. And when it comes to the civil unrest in the Democratic cities, it's everywhere. It all could have been prevented if all Trump did is say, arrest the killers that shot Breonna Taylor. Oh, that's it. That could have all been solved, right? And that's what a good leader does. They solve problems. They unite people, right? They even if I don't agree with their policy, they actually have a policy. Does this man even know how to get a bill through Congress? I mean, could have fooled me.
It's called the Farm Bill.
We're still not even sitting, we still don't have a health care program. So we don't want to get too off subject. You know, Derek, we could really get all over the place. So we do want to go to some specific questions. Tony, do you have the next question?
Yeah, I'll ask the first question.
Oh, were we on question 1?
Well, yeah, I think what Tony is looking to know, and I'll elaborate a little bit because I think Tina wanted to jump the gun a little bit on this.
You're the one for guns, Derek.
Well, Second Amendment right is very important to a lot of people. So my candidate, guys, let's break it down. Now, there's a lot of reasons why myself and other people are going to vote for Trump, but I would like to stick to the first topic, why he's good for cannabis.
Okay.
So Donald Trump has a long history of kind of just being bipartisan. He doesn't really sway one way or the other. He has said in the past that he supports medical rights and states' rights. So he's improved and kind of just went with the flow of the Obama-era administration's idea that, hey, we're going to be hands-off when it comes to states' rights. The federal government's no longer going to intrude into those areas where we've regulated and legalized cannabis. So Trump hasn't really gone one way or the other. Now, things that he has done, as I kind of alluded to a few minutes ago, was the 2008 Farm Bill. So what that did is just it deregulated, stabilized a lot of programs. It opened up a lot of doors for farmers across the U.S. One thing that it did do was allowed CBD to be brought into the equation. So the Hemp Act, which was part of that Farm Bill, allowed for cannabis to be grown. Now it has to have less than 0.3 THC, so hemp, CBD, allowed it to be grown in all 50 states. It's the first time this has ever been done. It's the first president to do that. Without that act, we have no stepping stones for cannabis. So this was the first step. It was actually Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, surprisingly enough, who was the first person to bring that up. He was the one who wanted to introduce legislation legalizing hemp in Kentucky and then nationalizing it, and it got done. So that's one bill that they passed.
Sounds beneficial for his state.
No, it's national. It's all 50 states. So it was Kentucky first, because you got to take care of your state as a congressman and a senator. But he went on to legalize it nationally. So now every farmer in every state can cultivate CBD. Then you go into the background of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, let's go to the 94 crime bill. It's called the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 94. He downplays this now, but he played a huge role in overhauling crime laws, which allowed for segregationists throughout the 80s and 90s and into the 2000s to allow control of the jails and how we dictate what people are put into jail for. It exponentially increased incarceration for people of color for years, exponentially. Not only that, Biden has downplayed this over and over again, and even through his racist history, it now comes through in his mindless dementia and all his little interviews that he does. You hear these little racist things come out. And so you got to think for yourself, is it racist for Trump to be a little politically incorrect? Or is it racist for somebody who to align with segregationists his entire political career for 47 years over a course
Sounds
of that,
like you're starting a smear campaign, Derek.
Not
I'm going to have to
smear.
stop you right there.
Every major crime bill since
look at your time. It's 1 minute.
Every
Okay.
major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name Joe Biden attached to it. 1,900 convictions for pot offenses alone in San Francisco. Kamala Harris convicted people on marijuana charges at a higher rate than her predecessor. Why did it take so long for her to come out? 2010, she fought against the ballot to recreationalize pot in California. 2016, she stayed on the sidelines while the second initiative was passed. It wasn't until her presidential campaign hopes in 2018 that she finally supported cannabis. Now, who's the one who has the history of not really doing anything? Trump's a 4-year politician, or who has a political record of doing stuff that's going to hurt cannabis users in America?
Thanks for your comments, Derek. I can't wait to take this one.
Sure.
So, going back to which candidate supports cannabis the most, the obvious choice is the Biden-Harris ticket. Kamala Harris has sponsored the MORE Act. That's Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement. It is the most comprehensive bill. Let's lay it out so everyone understands how it would change our life, especially yours. So, number 1, full decriminalization. Okay? Number 2, descheduling. So now it is no longer federally illegal. When it deschedules, we can absolutely have consumption on the strip in the hotels. It's the only reason we can't. And if we want our city to have any kind of economic turnaround, that is what's going to save us. Number 3, it allows veterans to use cannabis without getting their benefits taken away. Number 4, it has a social justice component. 5% of the taxes would go to social justice. I am from Detroit, Michigan, where a city that was absolutely ruined by the war on drugs, and all of the blue-collar jobs have been gone away. A city like Detroit would benefit from this so much because you could now create green-collar jobs and revitalize like one of the worst economies in the United States. Number 5, it's the fucking right thing to do. We have over 55 million Americans who smoke weed. We have 65% of Americans who believe in legalization. There are 33 states that are medical, and now I think it's 14 that are legal. Trump has been in office for 4 years, sitting on 69 bills for cannabis. Has he signed one? Has he? No, I don't think he has.
Pork spending.
I don't think
Pork
he has.
spending
The
is part
farm
of those
bill.
bills.
The farm bill, what's CBD going to do for us? He hasn't even signed the Safe
Tina,
Banking Act.
come on.
There's people right now hiding money probably at Lake Mead in duffel bags. But most importantly, we can't even get, not we, but many of our peers can't get paid by a check because he can't even sign that Safe Banking Act.
That's not true. I get paid by
And it's
checks
so
every day.
odd to
Every
me.
2 weeks, I
Maybe you.
get a check.
Maybe you, but not many of us.
Fake news.
Not many of us
Fake
in
news.
that. Oh, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
You're entitled to your own
I'm
opinions, but
speaking.
you're not your own set of facts, Tina.
Oh, that's
okay?
always the good Republican go-to
Well,
when
it's
they
true.
can't say anything,
it's
right?
a fact. I
They're
can
like,
show
I
you
don't
my
know
pay
what to
stub.
say. Let me shoot with this one.
Show you my pay stub.
By far, the Biden-Harris ticket would happen. So let's talk about the MORE Act. It is scheduled to go to the House on November 17th, okay? If the Senate is flipped, we still need more support in the Senate. But full legalization could happen within this year. That would change our lives. If somebody doesn't say, you know what, I was wrong about how I voted 20 years ago, right? I was wrong what I did 20 years ago.
10 years ago in Kamala's case.
Who cares? To say I was wrong and then I want to fix it is the most humbling thing that a leader can do. And I know we forgot
Or
that,
phony.
that humility is actually one of the greatest strengths of many leaders. This president, unfortunately, we don't see it. I rest my case.
Yeah. Mic drop, sure. Listen, at the end of the day, Trump's been in office for 3.5 years. He's been in politics for about the same time. Biden and Harris have been in politics their entire career and have done nothing to help.
Oh, they absolutely have.
That's what,
As a matter of fact, guys, here's to make it easy.
Besides the MORE Act, let me ask you a question.
Just Google what's Biden done in the last 40 years.
No,
that's all you have to do.
For
because
cannabis reform.
You can see the bills. Who cares? What's he doing
Well, that's what
right
we're talking
now?
about. That's who
What's
cares.
he doing right now? He said, I was wrong. We should move cannabis forward. And that's what a good leader has to do.
I guarantee you that if this goes to vote on the 17th of November, which, by the way, the Democrats punted it till after the election, the House Democrats, not the Republicans. It should have been voted on already. Democrats punted it to after the election because they wanted
coronavirus.
Okay, blame it on Corona. Anyways, the point is, this is not something that Trump said he would never sign off on. This is just a talking point. Biden or Kamala did co-sponsor, no doubt. And I'm happy about the MORE Act. I'm all for the MORE Act. But what I'm not for is phony politics. And I think she is as fake
Nothing's phony.
and two-faced as they come.
So, Derek, are you saying if we did something 10 years ago and you and I say, you know what, I was wrong, I probably shouldn't have said that?
It wasn't just 10 years ago, though, or 20 years ago. This is her a few years ago.
This is the first time she's been a senator. And for those who need a refresher, the senators and our assemblymen and congressmen and women, they are the one who make the laws, right? So when she was a district attorney, she did not make the laws. We have 600...
She enacted them. She was the hammer that got these guys convicted, these young women of color, these young men of color. She was responsible.
She didn't. Her office did it. And that was the law. So then do we put people
She's
in that don't abide by the law?
She's a district attorney. She was the boss of her office.
And I'll
it's just
say
like
this.
The president.
It's not awesome that she did it. And
are you going to defend what her record? You can't defend it.
Am one person who can say, hey, these are their strengths and these are their weaknesses. This is not something that's great, right, for any of us. But at the same time, we're never going to find a candidate that we agree with 100%. And this false notion that we have to love our candidate. I mean, people defend their candidate and they're willing to break up relationships in their families. So I wish Kamala Harris didn't have this on her record. But what is she doing now to make it right? And that is the difference between Republicans who are stagnant and want to keep control and progressives like myself and Kamala Harris who are like, we need to move this forward. We need to move cannabis forward. We need to move gay rights forward. We need to move all these things. Not Trump. He just talks about himself all the time. Hey, let me send another tweet so that we can have more civil unrest. Beep, beep, beep. Derek, even Republicans aren't voting for him. Look at
you will be very surprised.
People. Colin Powell, where you at, brother? Tim Scott. Can we have those type of Republicans?
Tim Scott authored.
Tim Scott was so mad after Trump didn't denounce the Proud Boys. John Kasich, the governor of Nebraska, just came out. His whole half of his cabinet said, sayonara, you suck. And off record, even his Secretary of State said, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, John Kasich is a chooch. Let's just be clear. The guy ran for president. The guy, he's nothing. He's a
one of the
mayor.
most respected Republicans. He's a governor of Ohio
whatever
and
he's
a
doing.
senator.
Whatever he's doing up there.
But this is where Republicans need better representation, right? There's a lot of things I agree with.
At a state level.
There's a lot of things I agree with that Republicans do. But having Donald Trump as the representative for your party is not one.
He's a leader. The strongest one we've ever had.
How is he a leader? Tell us. Name three things.
Sure. So
one,
coronavirus. So while Joe is hiding in his, okay, well, if that's what we're gonna do, we're children here. While Joe was hiding in his basement, our president was out there every day with the Faucis, with the Rex, whatever. What the hell was his name? The other guy with the WHO. Anyways, he was out there with his team every single day talking to the American people. He was there until he gave Pence the reins, and then he was there. You have to understand, when you have something like this happen, you have to be able to lead. And Biden, at the end of the day, didn't lead at all. In fact, he was against all the things that Trump did in the beginning to stop coronavirus from spreading. He called him a xenophobe. He called him a racist for stopping travel from China. When he went and he stopped travel from European cities to and from, the Democrats were nowhere to be found. They were calling him a racist for that. And that's a problem because emotions are getting put in front of facts. And that's where the Democrats and Republicans have a hard line in the sand. And you can see it in the media. All you got to do is look on the media side.
Okay, hold on. You're supposed to go back to say three things on why Trump is a good leader.
Well, okay. So number two, the guy has
Wait, what was the first one?
His leadership on coronavirus and COVID.
Well, I'd say the majority of America disagrees with you on that.
That's according to Democratic polls.
I mean,
that we know are not real. You have to look at the facts, guys. Every single day, this guy goes out and leads. Whether it's on Twitter, he's speaking to the American public. You always know what's on his mind. He goes out, he makes trade deals. The USMCA. He got rid of NAFTA. Huge.
Oh, yeah.
He's leading.
They called it something different.
He's leading the American. Is Tony still here? By the way, Tony, you still here?
He's probably sipping on his latte.
Oh, there he is.
He's probably like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to talk here.
Go ahead. Hop in here. We don't want to take up your show, you know?
Rick, just make sure tell Rick to keep my mic hot. Tell him not to turn it down, so you guys can hear me the whole time.
But
can we calm down here and get back to the issues?
Yeah, we are getting back to the issues. Trust me.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay.
Everyone's fine.
Okay.
So
Great.
I do want to respond to that, though.
Let's take it back a second, because you guys dove right into the coronavirus issue, and I definitely want to talk about that. So let's start there first.
All right. Wait, Tina,
I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tina, please tell us what you think about the coronavirus, and what do you think the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and Kamala will do to help with coronavirus and help us get out of this to move on.
Yes. First, let's make sure we're saying Senator Kamala Harris's name correctly and respectfully.
Yeah, typical Democrat. Worries more about the way you say her name than the actual
Derek,
politics.
it's respect. It's respect.
He calls me Derek Gumin. Do you think I'm correcting him every time?
You're not running
Gumin.
for vice president.
Yeah, all right.
These strong German names are hard for people to say, Derek. Okay. Anyways, I'm speaking. You mentioned that Trump was getting out there every day to speak to the American people. That's what he's supposed to do, Derek. He's the president. I found more compassion when Pence's weird ass spoke. At least he was saying things to unify the country that a leader should do, and making sure that people were uniting. There hasn't been one word of unity in the last 4 years. Every single speech he doesn't talk about his policy, he doesn't give facts, he's just constantly shit-talking. To, again, the point where prominent Republican figures have now said, I'm done. Let's just look at what your boy
he asked what Biden was going to do. What is Biden going to do? And Harris, what is that ticket going to do for coronavirus?
Number one, unify people, right? First of all you have to do is be a considerate human being. That's it. My pops always told me nobody likes an inconsiderate little brat, right?
Back to feelings again.
Feelings. Your president is the most emotional president we've ever seen.
Thick skin, like a real New Yorker.
Derek, I'm speaking. If that's all you have to do is to wear a mask and be considerate, to be the best American that you can be, then by God, I will do that. Because I care even about you, Derek. Or is it what's your name? Is it Denrick?
Teach Therese their own.
So, number one, Biden will unify. You see his relationships on both sides of the aisle, and that is important. When you have a president who Democrats don't like and his own party doesn't like, that's a red flag, period. I think personally, just my own opinion on this, one thing we can do is have schools where if you want to go to school and the teachers want to teach, you go to this school. If you don't want to go to school, you go to this school. But that's a compromise, and that's not something we've seen for the last 4 years from the Democratic establishment or from Trump.
Tina, is that your view or is that Joe Biden's view? Okay, well let's stick to what your party's views are and what they're actually going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And number one, get a new relief package out. My God, people are getting evicted right now.
Pelosi's pushing it.
Because they can't work together. And that's actually why one reason we're here today is because we want to show that we can also work together.
True.
If we have an administration who hates each other so much, it is only hurting the American people. Joe Biden has shown, again, he can have relations on both sides of the aisle. We cannot do any worse than we're doing right now. If you do not want this to be the next 4 years of your life, something needs to change. And in a battleground state like Nevada, where our votes are worth more than California, Texas.
They're not worth more than California.
Absolutely, with the Electoral College.
California has more votes than Nevada.
We are a battleground state, and our votes are worth more than places like California because of how the Electoral College is set up. Michigan as well, Florida as well. So it's so important for people in Nevada to take this seriously.
Well, Tina, well, I agree with you on that. This is a battleground state, which I think we're going to turn red in 2020. Let me just jump into a couple things that Tina did not mention about their plan under Biden-Harris. Biden has called for a nationalized mandate on masks. So regardless of whether your state or you yourself believe in it, he's going to nationalize it. He's also looked at lockdowns and more COVID restrictions based on the science, which, by the way, what scientists are we listening to? If Fauci says one thing, we go to him. If they don't like that, well, we don't like Fauci anymore. There's a lot of inconsistency with everyone going, we're going to follow the science. There is no science when you have a brand new virus enter the world's ecosystem. There is no science. We're figuring out science is a constantly evolving thing. That's why it's science. You have to figure it out, and there's going to be changes. Same thing with the masks. We were told masks don't do shit. Then we were told they do. People are saying this and that. You can't keep flip-flopping. So that's one thing. The weaponization of coronavirus has not only been something that Harris and Biden have done, but also we're talking about judges, we're talking about mayors and coronavirus. They're overextending their reach. Democratic states, big overreach because they want to control you. That is about everything that they care about. The Whitmer.
And how do you expect to solve it? How do you expect to solve it, right?
Hold on, let me get to that.
If you can't be a good patron, where is your solution?
Here it is. Are you ready? Well, let me just make one more point about the Biden. We're censoring COVID information on Facebook and Twitter. Joe Biden has introduced people that are part of his presidential transition team, executives from Twitter, executives from Facebook, and integrated them into his team. 70 times, pretty much 65 or 70 times, Donald Trump has been censored or had his stuff flagged. You know how many times Biden has? 0. And he's put out plenty of fake stats. There's a common consistency here, and it's if it's not Trump, or if it's not, if it's not...
You're stumbling over your words. Kick it to me, Rick.
No, we're not done here.
Science is science, okay? When Bill Nye, the fucking science guy, says wear a mask, we should all listen.
Yeah.
Derek,
Bill
if this
Nye,
building
that guy is an actor.
If this building was
that
on
guy's an
fire
actor.
right now, would you go like this?
You're going to reference Bill Nye. You're going to reference...
All right.
Listen.
No, Derek got to talk. Derek got to talk.
All right.
Listen.
Hold on.
Give me a joint.
Okay. All right, let's slow it down a little bit. Okay. So
listen. Democrats
you want to give a quick? No. Tina, give a quick rebuttal,
please. So Democrats in Congress, part of that first relief bill, Congress gave $75 million of your taxpayer money as part of that first relief bill to PBS and PBR. That is according to the Media Research Center. That's just public broadcasting, right? 75 million. Let's get back to pork spending. It's just money that we're throwing at things that have nothing to do with coronavirus. So it went to public radio and it went to PBS, public broadcast station. You know what that 75 million could have bought? 192 million masks, 357 million pairs of gloves, 300,000 test kits, 4,100 ventilators, 21,000 hospital beds, and 2.5 million bottles of sanitizer. Trump has been ahead of this. He got cities a fucking cruise ship in New York City as a hospital. Which
was never used.
Yeah, but that's Cuomo's fault. That is not Donald Trump's fault. They asked him for stuff, ventilators. They put up the military made makeshift hospitals up for these states who asked them for help. And what did they do? They blew the money on crap like this. My point is, if you're looking for someone that's going to fight for you and not just spend money frivolously, it's the Republican ticket and Republicans in your state. We believe in small government, less spending, lower your taxes. That inherently is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Now, you can say it's for one thing or the other. You know, Tina will always argue that your money is going to go towards health care and social reform.
Let's talk about health care. Okay, let's talk about health care.
Wait.
Interrupting me again. What is this?
Hold on.
Talk for like 100 minutes.
Got a lot to say.
Hold on. So, okay, Tina, I'll give you some time to do a rebuttal to what he just said, and then
I'm done.
No cahoots.
We're not.
Who are you, CNN?
What are you talking about? I'm giving
this
you
is a Russian
time
scandal
to do a
here.
rebuttal, Tina. And this is my show, so you guys are going to listen to me, and let's keep the ball rolling. Tina, do your rebuttal, and then let's move on to the next topic.
Okay, so I want to touch on healthcare right now because coronavirus absolutely ties right in with it. And it's so important to know what Donald Trump and the Republicans in the Senate are doing with our healthcare right now. The Affordable Care Act, which is also known as Obamacare, they are trying to repeal right now with no plan.
Terrible plan.
It's not a terrible plan when President Trump doesn't even have a plan. The senators have been in power in the Senate for 10 years. No plan. Trump, no plan. They are going to take away pre-existing conditions.
Not true.
Yes, it is true. That is what repealing the Affordable Care Act is. They are going to take away health insurance for those 26 and under if you are on your parents' health insurance right now. And here's how it relates to the cannabis industry. First and foremost, the cannabis employers need to start offering benefit packages and 401k after a certain period of time so that we can actually create a sustainable green collar jobs. Some do not. So if you do not have insurance and you are working in the cannabis industry making $13 to $16 an hour, how are you going to afford $300 in private health care? You can't. Your president has no health care plan, and it can affect all of us. It is the only country where if you go in debt because of healthcare bills, you could have your house taken away from you. That is what's important, not Trump and all of his opinions and what he's tweeting. What is his policies? And we have to take it back to looking at policies and not looking at this horrible man that has divided our country into civil unrest. Stop lowering your values. Say you want a better Republican candidate. I would love it if it was someone different than Joe Biden. But it is Joe Biden. It is what it is.
Well, is that a reason to vote for a president?
Absolutely.
It is what it is? I don't think so.
No, that is not what I was saying. Don't mix my words,
well,
Mr.
You just came out of your mouth.
Don't mix my words, Trump
Okay,
Jr.
all right. Okay. So let's, you brought up a very touchy subject right here in America right now, the social unrest, the racial tensions that are happening in America. So, Derek.
Yep.
Tell us about your party and how they're doing with that, and talk to us about how Donald Trump's going to unite this country.
Well, listen, the racial unrest in our country is sad. It's divisive. I think the media has fueled this fire more than anything. I think Donald Trump could have done a better job with his rhetoric in many ways. That's just him throughout his career. We all know that he's not the most poignant. He's quite brash. And, and I'll say this, and he's still my guy, but, I said it before he got elected the first time. I love him. I wish he would delete his Twitter because he has diarrhea of the mouth. However, that being said, when it comes to social justice, when it comes to reforms, even though Trump is a pro-cop guy, reforming the police, he is not going to let racial sensitivity and political correctness tame our country. He's going to move forward with his own plan. Trump has lowered Americans or African American, Asian, and Latino unemployment more than any other president throughout history. He's raised more money for historically black colleges and universities than any other president. He's created opportunity zones for black Americans. He's backed Joe Biden backed a criminal reform bill, probably the most significant criminal justice reform bill in decades, called the First Step Act, which reformed federal prisons and sentencing laws in order to reduce the occurrence of reoffending and decreasing federal limits of population. Oh, did I read my wrong notes?
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
Yep. Time's up. Nope. Time's up.
Trump passed the First Step Act. Now, what he's done is he's reformed prisons, guys. He's got it easier for you to get out of jail. He's got it easy. If you're a low-level drug offender with no violent past.
What bill was that?
The First Step Act. He just passed it this year.
Oh, this year. It happens to be the election year. You have 3 years to do that
Biden ran
shit.
for vice president.
Tina.
Biden ran for vice president. He's been in politics for 47 years, and he's never done anything except incarcerate black Americans. The 94 crime bill, as I mentioned, was a huge disaster for black people. The BAPCPA hurt black people and hurt people of color, women and children, because it made it impossible for them to wipe out credit card debt and student loan debt when in bankruptcy. You guys, a lot of people talk about Trump going bankrupt throughout his career. You know who opened up that loophole in the government for him? Joe Biden. Joe Biden helped pass that law, and what it did was hurt middle-class families.
Okay, all right, Derek.
It's true.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Tina. Let's talk about. First of all, I'll give you a little bit of time to rebuttal what Derek said.
Yes. So to rebuttal what Derek said, when you say that Trump needs to take away his Twitter, he has diarrhea of the mouth. Words have power, Derek. The words that a president says have power, and they make the country think that things are okay that are not okay, right? Like, for instance, black folks not having the same civil justice that we have, not having the same constitutional rights.
That's not true. That's not true. There's nothing that black American can do in America that a white American can't.
As a little kid, we stood there and we put our hand over our heart and said the Pledge of Allegiance. And the last words are liberty and justice for all. And because that's not happening, and we have seen it firsthand on the TV, Black Americans have united together with other folks who believe that everyone should have the same rights and created the Black Lives Matter movement.
What year was that created?
Excuse me,
well,
I'm speaking.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Let her finish. Derek.
And you kind of dodged the question and you started talking about positive things. The fact of the matter is Black Lives Matter, and not just any Black lives since it's so general. My Black friends' lives matter. That's what we have to look at. We're 1 degree of separation from something happening to one of our friends.
Why do you think that?
And it is because the speed of the leader, all he had to say was arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor.
You're fear-mongering.
And he has never, ever done it. He could have prevented all of these things from happening, and he did not. The only reason he is doing any little thing like supporting black colleges or letting people out of prison, which is really Kim Kardashian and he's riding her coattail, is because he has to give something so he can try to say, this is what I did for black people.
That is so offensive.
All right.
I'm not done.
All right, Derek. All right, hold on. So Tina, tell us what you think Joe Biden and the Democratic Party is going to do to help unite this country.
Absolutely. Every single thing that you see them doing right now. Number one, stop being so divisive. Stop putting people against each other. Denounce white supremacy. Denounce the Proud Boys. Don't quote people that were racist leaders saying when they start looting, we start shooting. So the words have power, and it starts with words that bring people together, number one. Then putting actions in place. You want law enforcement to have good relationships with the public? Then do actions that happen, that make that happen. He has not done any of that. We have seen the worst come out in people. It has divided people. We see it in our homes, in our country, in our cities. There is nothing good that this president has done to increase better race relations. And as long as black people do not have the same constitutional rights as everybody else, race relations will never improve, period. This is the first time that finally we actually even have a shot of looking at how does this look through the black lens? Because Kamala Harris will be the first black vice president.
She's Asian.
She's both. She's everything, like many people in America, right? So she represents so many people. But there is nothing worse that could be happening right now. You are talking about the commander-in-chief, and when he pops off on Twitter and he says things that he shouldn't say, Derek, it has power.
Listen.
It is the speed of the leader. We have all had great leaders, great coaches. We know what it takes to be a good leader, and he is not one of them.
Let me say this,
awesome.
Tony.
Okay, Derek, you got some time to
let me say this.
And then I'm cutting you off at literally 60 seconds.
You got it. The Black Lives Matter movement has been around since 2011 when Obama and Biden were in office. Ferguson happened under Obama and Biden. This is not anything new. This is not Trump's fault. Black Lives Matter has been around for a long time. And I'd like to ask, and I bet you Tina can't name 3 places, where does BLM money go besides the Democratic National Party? The Minnesota Freedom Fund put criminals back on the streets that were put in jail for rioting. That's a problem. If you look at New York City, cities like San Francisco, catch and release, you look at cities like New York, catch and release, these reform bills that people are putting in place because they believe that there's social injustice, that it's offensive to black Americans and anybody of color to think that you have the same constitutional rights. Don't let anybody tell you don't, because each one of us is an American first. Our color, I don't look at people through a colored lens.
Then why did Breonna Taylor get
justice?
Tina,
Thank you.
That's up to the Atlanta District Attorney, not you and me to debate our opinions on.
All right.
And the facts, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm
Thank
not
you, Derek.
like I do.
Thank you, Derek.
You got it.
Okay, so Tina, you're gonna get the first one on this one. We kind of jumped around a little bit with the categories, but I definitely want to talk about the economy, and I know that's going to be a big question that comes up. Guys like 50 Cent have shown that they are going to go with the tax plan that Donald Trump put forth. So can you kind of just talk about what's going to go on with his idea for the economy, especially after COVID and what's going on in the world right now?
Me? Oh.
Yes, Tina.
Okay, so let's talk about the economy first. There's two separate things. There's the economy and then there's the stock market. And what happens is all these Trumpsters try to take credit for the economy when it's really the stock market. The wealth gap has never been larger, Derek. The rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. And if you don't believe me, you can watch The Patriot Act on Netflix and they'll tell you all about it.
More TV shows and celebrities that we should listen
No,
to. Bill Nye, TV shows. Okay, media that is biased.
Should we listen to Trump, who just,
Derek,
like
let
you
him-
said,
let
has
her
verbal
talk.
diarrhea of the mouth? So back to the economy. When you start to focus so much on the stock market, then people that are working blue-collar jobs cannot retire. They do not have health benefits. So I would give all the money that I made in the stock market back if my fellow man could actually have some decency and
What's
have livable
Biden's
wages.
plan? What's
Now,
Biden's plan?
earlier you talked about frivolous spending. So, and what it could buy to help coronavirus. How about all the money? What could we get if we actually taxed the rich? If people like Jeff Bezos paid their fair share of tax dollars, and people like Trump paid their fair share of tax dollars. So here, even like Mark Cuban has said, I could pay more money. So when you have these ridiculous tax cuts for the rich part of the America, and then here's people struggling to make ends meet, that is a problem. I am not somebody that thinks that you should just give everyone everything free, but you should have progressive ideas like Biden and Harris have, so that you're not just giving the rich all the tax cuts, period.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tina.
So
All right,
I would say this
Derek, you're gonna have some
to
time for
rebuttal
rebuttals.
Tina. First of all, we don't gauge the country on the stock market. In February of this year, unemployment was at a all-time, American history all-time low at 3.5% pre-COVID. So let me just get that out there. We have the highest middle-class income in history. Middle class, okay? That's important.
Are these facts from Fox News?
No, these are pulled off. What is this? So,
Tina, let him talk.
yeah. If you guys want to socialize your economy, I've lived in a socialist country for 2 years. And let me tell you, there are benefits, right? But what happens is, you give all this money to healthcare and you give money to education, and that's great. But what continues to occur is exactly what Tina mentioned. In a socialist country, the gap between the wealthy and the lower class widens. In a Republican economy, middle class thrives. The new U.S.-Mexico-Canadian agreement will literally be the best trade deal that's ever been made. It replaced NAFTA, which by Biden's own admission was not a great deal. This was an update to from the worst trade deal that's ever been put in place. Now we're flying high with all sorts of incentives set up for Mexico and Canada and the U.S. to trade with one another. Biden and Harris's domestic policy and their foreign policy with China because of NAFTA and the Middle East, it is an awful idea for us to move into a direction where we start to look like China.
Okay, Derek. So
not to mention the Green New Deal that's going to get thrown in there, and I know how I feel about
okay,
that. We
thank
don't need
you.
to go down that route.
Thank you, Derek. So a lot of people are worried, Derek. So let's talk about the economy and what Donald Trump has planned. A lot of people are worried, especially in the middle class, that Donald Trump and the Republican Party is going to forget about them. So can you just kind of touch about what their plan is and how they can make a strong economy for America?
Me?
Yes, you.
Well, I mean, look, we already had the strongest economy in American history prior to COVID. Now, coming back from that, Tina wants to downplay the stock market, but in reality, that's American dollars going back into
rich people's hands.
No, listen, I'm not rich. I grew up in a lower to middle class family, and I earned my money the hard way through hard work. Now, am I going to say that I don't like money? No, of course not. Am I investing in stocks? Yeah, of course I am. But I'm not rich. I'm not part of the 1%. I'm just an American who has a little disposable income because I've worked hard, and I don't want to give it frivolously to some social programs that are going to not get distributed equally. If you guys look at every city that is Democrat run, and you look at all the money that we flood in there for social equity programs, most of those cities, Baltimore, for example, that city has gotten more money in U.S. history than almost any other city for those exact programs. And what happens to the minority communities? They still suffer because Democrats have been running that city. When you start to put Republicans in place, you see an uptick in the economy. You see your taxes lower. You have more disposable income. America's never been better under Trump. He's deregulated fossil fuel. Even companies like Tesla, a green company, is having record numbers under Trump. You think that's just because of the stock market? And no, it's because we have a good, strong, healthy economy. Now, COVID took a hit, and I think we all know that wasn't Trump's fault. He's been outspokenly against a lot of these lockdowns. He was for them at first to get things right for 3 months, and then governors and mayors overextended their power. And now we're here. Governor Sisolak has been atrocious for our state. He continues to regulate and restrict what we can do in our businesses. It's a huge problem, and we need to remove all the Democrats from office here in Nevada.
Excuse me, we sure as shit aren't removing Steve Yeager. That's for darn sure.
All right, Tina, do you want to give a rebuttal to that?
Yes, let me respond to that.
Tina, I'm cutting you off in 60 seconds, though.
I knew you were in cahoots. So first and foremost, we need social programs to help people. They should be programs that affect many people's lives right now. Mental health, right? Where has Donald Trump gone with helping anybody with that?
Veterans?
Oh my God, talking shit on veterans?
No, he doesn't talk shit. He's been one of the most proud proponents of the U.S.
Derek,
military and veterans of any other president.
Derek, let Tina talk, please.
Sorry,
Thanks. Our city is a great example of what's going to happen after COVID, okay? Overall, I want to talk about our state for just 1 second. So the only thing I don't agree with Steve Sisolak doing is not having the people who want to go back to school go to school. But our state was one of the first states to close down, right? One of the first. And we did not have to close down and open back up. Right? So many other states did. California, Arizona, we did not. Nobody has a recipe for how to do this the best way. But what Trump did is he said, okay, states, you can do it because I don't have a fucking plan. I don't even know how to say Thailand. Right? Then when he put it into the state's hands, people are now criticizing their state, but yet here we are working. We can go to places, we can go to restaurants.
We have record unemployment in Nevada.
For
all of you who don't know,
because we have a whole city that is.
It thrives on tourism, and when you put restrictions on the hotels and our tourism industry, it directly affects the cannabis industry because we need that tourism.
Okay, let me speak. So then,
is that the end of your rebuttal?
Then how do you get people to work together, to wear masks, to have social distance so that you can have an economy going again?
I don't want to wear a mask.
You can't have both. You can't say, I want the economy going, but I don't want people to wear masks and care about their fellow neighbor.
Oh, please, come on.
That is what the Republicans are
saying. All right. We're getting off topic.
I like Tony's
listen, okay.
Oh, yeah, all right. Listen, this is a friendly conversation here, Tony.
It is. How many viewers do we even have? Like 4?
I'm not sure, but listen, I want to keep this rocking and rolling. You guys are doing a great job. Let's just keep this ball rolling.
Do you want to talk about the state?
I want you guys to do a quick wrap up. You guys both each have 60 seconds. I'll let Tina go first of why they should vote for Joe Biden. And then Derek, you have 60 seconds. Please do not interrupt each other.
You should absolutely vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris so that we can change the current state of our country, so that we can go back to having unity and moving forward as a country. We need somebody who is not going to be divisive. We need somebody who has allies on both sides of the aisle. He's been doing this. He comes with a strong cabinet. He's going to have so many people in his cabinet. Trump, everyone left his cabinet. We have Harris, who has the MORE Act. It will change all of our lives in cannabis. It's the thing that we need to progress the movement forward. I absolutely don't. He's not my first pick, but at the same time, the more I research about him and the more I learn, the actually happier I am to know that this person is going to be office instead of the monster Cheeto man that is in there right now. I mean, come on.
Awesome.
Even I can get a better spray tan than that.
That's probably true.
Thank you, Tina. All right, Derek.
Well, listen, guys, if you're for historic tax cuts, deregulation, historic trade deals, peace in the Middle East, If you're anti-corruption, you know, there's a lot coming out about Biden's son and what he was doing while Biden was in office as vice president. You know, they tried to impeach Trump for something like this earlier this year. It's kind of funny. We don't see it in the media. Listen, our president's going to fight for us, whether it's against big tech, whether it's against the Democratic Party, or whether it's against China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. We have the strongest president we've ever had. His foreign policy and the economy reflects it. If you want to vote for an American that is going to fight for your rights, and to be honest, when the farm bill is renegotiated in 2023, I truly believe this, that because Trump is such a great businessman, that he is going to be the one to federalize cannabis in the United States. Pence, Trump, 2020, get out and vote. And Tina, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to do this with you because, you know, there's really no one else as passionate as I am that I know of on the other side. And we're such good friends. And I think that it's just so important that we can, and thank you again, Tony and JC and Chuck on the other side.
And sorry to cut you off, but I know we're going to end. We do want to make sure that everyone knows that we are aligned on many issues when it comes to what's happening in our state. And we put so much focus on the presidential election, and these local officials have more reign over our lives than any president ever will. So we do want to make sure that everyone knows to vote for Steven Yeager, who Steve has been one of the most supportive legislators. I have all the list of folks that are on the local level that support cannabis and will move us forward in Nevada.
He's a Democrat that I actually agree with, that I will likely vote for, because he is going to be somebody who fights for our right to use cannabis in a recreational space that is legal, that is safe. And so, I mean, for me, that's what we've always been fighting for since we got into this industry. So, you know, unfortunately, there's not a ton of Republicans statewide that are outspoken, but
hopefully, Derek, you can change that.
I am hoping that there will be. You know, I've spoken to, what is it, Hammond? Was it Scott Hammond?
Oh, at the meeting that we brought him to?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we need more Republicans out there that will come by a place where they're out of place and they will listen to the other side, just like we're doing here today and just like we're trying to give you guys. So thank you guys for all tuning in. It's been incredible. Tony, you want to send us out? Oh, by the way, Derek Las Vegas, your old pal Tina here on Instagram, if you want to give us a shout out. If you have any questions,
please reach out to me. I have more of the answers. Derek. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Tony, thank you for having us and putting up with us. I hope you make a lot of money in Oklahoma, which is also a Republican-ran state.
Thank you guys so much. Yep, awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys did a fantastic job. I'm really happy that we got to do this today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Sorry we're not there today. I could have controlled this, moderated this probably a little bit better, but that's okay. I kind of like seeing you guys fight.
It's like Chris Wallace over there.
But it's like Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. I think it's a good battle, and I really appreciate you both.
Thanks again, guys. Get out and vote next week, all right?
We'll talk to you guys soon. See you guys next Thursday. Peace.